combinations in there as well. A couple of people looking to put their hands up for a test start as well, who did very, very well actually, I thought, in the pack in particular. Jack Conan, Luke Cowan-Dickey was superb, but one of the highlights of the game as well was Alwyn Jones came on at around 55, or just near around 55 minutes, so he got 25 minutes under his belt when he came on as well. It was straight into the action on the defence when he did come on as well, so the Lions pretty much up against it. But just going through the actual run of the game, so the Stormers did pretty well to front up in the first 20 minutes. Lions didn't really help matters, where they were a bit disjointed, dropping a couple of balls, no rhythm really in the first half, first quarter of the game I should say anyway. But after that then they started to establish a bit of combinations and some go forward, and they took it around 25 minutes, or 28 minutes I should say. They took a wide ball over to Josh Adams, good hands by Adam Beard. The ball, poor pass though, it went over the top of 2 or 3 people all the way to Josh Adams, set the ruck up, and then back on the reload. The Stormers defence just couldn't get across, and Adam Beard went over for his first try, which was really well deserved, and he's been superb since he's been called up. Adam Beard, I've been really impressed with him. Lions then, was the second try, they went to a drive maul on the 22, before a really good break off by Luke Cowan-Dickey, who showed pretty good gas actually to get over from around 10, I think it was 10 meters, 10 yards out. So he scored. Luke Cowan-Dickey was man of the match, and fair play to him. He did fully deserve that. He looked pretty impressive actually in the game. Luke Cowan-Dickey, he's been pretty solid since he's been on the tour. Third try was very good hands in the back line. Came across from Adam Beard to Hogg to Hill, and Johnny Hill, really physical, tall, big number 8, big second row, went over in the corner then. The number 8 then, Jack Conan, went on for the 4th try. It was pretty good hands actually. I think it was Jack Conan for the 4th try. Yeah, I'm sure it was Jack Conan. Anyway, Jack Conan went under the post as well for that try. It was a really good inside ball from Marcus Smith, who played absolutely exceptionally well. He was superb really all game, and gave that sort of that sort of mercurial front foot vivacity that you do need from 10. I mean, you've got the other 10s on the tour. You've got Bigger is safe as houses, Owen Farrell is a tactician and safe as houses. We haven't really seen a lot of Finn Russell because he's been injured, unfortunately. But Marcus Smith is definitely cut from a similar cloth, and he showed some fantastic footwork from a tap and go about 10 metres from the Lions try line. The ball came across all the way to Marcus Smith. He brilliant sort of go step on the outside of his defender. He gassed him and then put Reece Samet in for the try, and there was nobody going to be catching him there. Brilliant short range try. I forgot it was off his Xander Ferguson, who played very well. And then the try machine got his try, and I'm really happy for Sam Simmons. I mean, I said before the tour I was hoping that he got picked, and he did, and he delivered in fairness when he did come on as well. So the bench boys did, it did sort of get a bit disjointed when the bench was unloaded really, but the Lions boys will be pretty happy actually with the response from Wednesday. Ultimately you just want to put in your performance, make yourself stand out a little bit. Get on the try board doesn't do you any harm. I thought that Josh Adams was a touch quiet. Ali Price played really well. Hamish Watson went okay. Didn't do an awful lot wrong. But there are just 1 or 2 players really sort of like stepping up at the moment, and the Stormers, unfortunately, they weren't realistically in the game, didn't pose any real threat to the Lions other than the first 25 minutes of frustration and fronting up which they had, and when the Lions wore them down and their organisation told them, unfortunately the game was just a bit of a formality. But then it was just a case of how many are you going to score. The boys did pretty well, so to rack up another high score is brilliant. But this weekend will be the biggest test of all. where you're playing the full-on Springboks, their best team. So hopefully, touch wood, that this is not the last. Maybe some of the boys we'll see on tour, but I thought it's been a decent tour, and the midweek games have been what they are. They've been sort of hit-outs. Then it's not like the tours you've seen in the past, where particularly the New Zealand tour, where there is no let-up. The midweek games are mini tests into themselves as well. The only game you could say realistically, which was a test, would be South Africa Day's game before this, which they front loaded that with the majority of the Springboks team anyway. So by doing so, you've underpowered the provincial or the franchise teams, which they haven't really given a decent account of themselves. I think what's disappointed about that is that the Lions haven't been able to play the Bulls, which I think they're probably the strongest South African franchise overall. But there you go. I mean, you can only beat what's in front of you, and the Lions did that on the weekend by a final score of 49 points to 3. Looking